any further Windows development in Icinga 2 except for the Windows agent part?
Yes, we will introduce new modules and components with Icinga for Windows, which is separated from the Icinga agent itself because it's all written in PowerShell and has the possibility to extend monitoring and other components like inventory, for example, what we already have, to ensure that we can add additional possibilities externally from the agent, which is executed from an agent perspective, but independent development, independent solutions, and also allows other users, community members, and everyone else to actually extend the functionality of Icinga for Windows for custom requirements. And if you want to share it with us, you can, of course, add a pull request or create your own repository on GitHub and share it with everyone else.
Are the Windows plugins considered to be deprecated?
Yeah, so basically the C++ plugins are deprecated as of right now because we will entirely move forward with Icinga for Windows, which means we will extend the functionality of the existing plugins we have right now for Icinga for Windows, but also to add additional ones for Active Directory, Exchange, and many other basic Windows topics everyone wants to monitor. For example, a log file check to check actual log files on the system. So here is a good opportunity to extend the possibility, and with the easy start everyone can have, we can of course also promote our community members to write plugins, to share their knowledge, and to actually get started by following our developer guide, for example.
Is it possible to only have the Icinga agent and the plugins without having the whole Icinga for Windows framework?
No, that's not possible because the entire plugins depend on the Icinga PowerShell framework to get basic stuff handling, like on how a check result is determined, on how the packages, the checks itself are generated, and with all the unit conversion and so on, because there's lots and lots of stuff within the framework that requires to be done by the framework itself. Of course, we know that it adds another bunch of additional functionalities, like, for example, managing the entire agent for automated installation and so on. But this is a part that extended over the time, which does not really interfere with your actual setup running. Because, for example, when you use the new security features for Icinga for Windows, you can create a JA profile, which will then only allow certain plugins and commands being executed, which are only required for running the monitoring and not for management. And therefore, the Icinga PowerShell framework is required and mandatory for running plugins and every other component from Icinga for Windows.
Are there plans to provide the PowerShell plugins as standalone, so one can use the plugins without the framework stuff?
No, that's not possible. As we already mentioned earlier, the framework is always mandatory for running the plugins and every single extension for Icinga for Windows, mostly because we can collect many basic functions and core functionality, which we can then reuse in different projects and different types. So a developer creating a log file check, for example, can create a custom function, push a pull request to the framework, and the next user requiring this exact same feature, this exact same functionality, we can then reuse it and have everything built together and have everything really easy available for everyone.
Currently, one needs a hack to run PowerShell plugins. Are there plans to support this out of the box?
For Icinga for Windows, we have a built-in functionality to actually run the plugins, to create the configuration for automation within the Icinga plain configuration files, the .conf files, or the Icinga director by using import baskets for the check commands. And all these reworks and hacks that you required for previous plugins, for example, when you run the script with exit $last exit code, is not required by running Icinga for Windows plugins, because this functionality is handled entirely by the framework, by the configuration creator, to ensure that every single configuration you create with Icinga for Windows is in the exact same state, within the exact same type, which means instead of running the PowerShell script itself, we run instead the function, for example, invoke Icinga check CPU, which then returns the exit code, which we will exit the actual PowerShell with. So we do not create a PowerShell and start another PowerShell with the and fetch the last exit code. So we easily can determine what the real exit code is by running the plugin and terminating the own shell with the proper exit code, then resulting in Icinga fetching the correct exit code of the plugin. If you're using shell scripts right now to provide all your plugins, you can create a function wrapper around them and then call them with the Icinga for Windows functionality to ensure that they are compatible.